Let me read you something romantic from an 1889 newspaper. There's love, there's theology, and there's a woman whose idea of commitment involves eating the man she loves. This was meant to be funny, and honestly, it kind of is, but it's also extremely weird.
History is messy,
Weird, wild, anything but boring.
we're rainy day rabbit holes.
Exploring the unhinged side of history, politics, and culture.
Let's fall down the rabbit hole.
So, while researching this week's episode on Alferd, or Alferd Packer, the Colorado Cannibal, I spent a lot of time digging through 19th century newspapers. And if you've ever gone down that rabbit hole, you know things get strange very quickly. You go in looking for one specific thing, and suddenly you're reading ads for miracle hair tonics, 3-paragraph arguments between rival newspapers, and apparently romantic poetry about cannibals, which obviously I had to stop and investigate immediately. This particular gem appeared in the San Antonio Daily Light on April 1st, 1889, which, by the way, is April Fool's Day. So already we're off to a strong start. This poem is called Love and Theology. And I'm just going to read it to you because it really needs to be experienced in its full Victorian glory. A cannibal maiden loved too well, a missionary good. And he loved her, but dared not tell his love, for thus it stood. A cannibal she and a clergyman he, and their creeds were wide apart. And how could he take, for a sentiment's sake, a cannibal to his heart? Oh, 'twas a problem vexing very, for the cannibal maid and the missionary. Indeed, it was. But the cannibal maiden's love grew bold, for she was a simple thing, and thus her love, to her love, she told, "Oh, marry me, be my king, for I love you, my sweet. Well, enough? Oh, to eat. 'Tis a terrible thing, I know, but I must be your bride, or encompass you fried. Oh, I must, for I love you so. Oh, 'twas a problem vexing very to the maid, but more to the missionary. Indeed it was. He looked into the depths of her dark brown eyes with their wealth of love and trust, and he cried in the flush of a glad surprise, Ah, well, if I must, I must. They were wed on that day, for 'tis ever the way that passion must conquer creed, and a happier pair it's remarkably rare to discover it is indeed. And so 'twas settled nicely very for the cannibal maid and the missionary. Indeed, it was. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. First of all, shout out to the missionary who thought he was signing up for a spirited theological debate and instead ended up on the dinner menu. That's a rough day at work for sure. But the thing that really struck me while digging through these newspapers is how obsessed 19th century readers were with cannibals. And I mean obsessed. Cannibals pop up everywhere in the news back then. Adventure stories, travel accounts, missionary reports, political cartoons, and apparently romance poetry. Victorians could not get enough of this stuff. If you think about it, cannibals were basically the Victorian version of zombies. Anytime someone came back from exploring some far-off place, readers wanted to know two things. Were there cannibals? And so, how close did you come to being eaten? Now, to be fair, cannibalism has existed in different places and times throughout human history, sometimes in desperate survival situations, sometimes as part of ancient ritual practices, and sometimes, like in the case of Alferd Packer, it becomes a story that gets very dark very quickly. But the way Europeans and Americans talked about cannibalism in the 19th century often turned it into this kind of larger-than-life stereotype. The, quote, savage cannibal became a stock character, dangerous, exotic, lurking somewhere at the edge of the map, apparently always hungry for human flesh. And once that stereotype took hold, it showed up everywhere, from adventure novels to travel writing to little newspaper jokes like this one. Which brings us back to love and theology. Because in this poem, the woman really isn't a character. She's just the cannibal maid. Her love language is literally eating you. Romantic. And I guess efficient and high protein too. And honestly, I doubt the person who wrote this poem thought they were doing anything deep or sinister. They were probably just writing a silly little joke for the newspaper. which is exactly what makes it interesting. Because when a joke works, it means the audience already understands the stereotype. The writer doesn't have to explain anything. Everyone already knows the setup. Missionary meets cannibal, chaos ensues. That idea was just floating around in the broader cultural air at the time. And in the 19th century, people were absolutely swimming in it. So next week on 5 or 10 or 15-minute Friday, I'm going to share another poem I found. And that one gets even stranger because it introduces a couple of characters using terms that were already considered racist slurs at the time. And it gives us a chance to talk a little about how labels like savage and cannibal were used during the Age of Empire. But for today, I just wanted to share this delightful little oddity from the archives, a love poem about a cannibal. Victorian journalism, everyone. No notes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Down the rabbit hole.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
MSW Media.